Hi, this is Heather from ArtStacks. We're thrilled to finally be bringing you our tissue in packs and in individual pages. We've got individual pages of all the tissue pages from our core stack packs and our full packs of tissue. We have tissue backgrounds, which is 6 pages of amazing backgrounds. But what we're here to talk about today is the blank tissue and how you can print on this at home. We have 2 different sizes. There's A4 and US letter. It's just totally up to you which country you're in as to what size you order. So just make sure you order the correct size for your country, and then take out one of the pieces of tissue, and you'll notice it comes with a pre-folded edge. I don't know if you can see that on there. There's a pre-folded edge there. Now grab a piece, this is an A4 sheet, so I grab a piece of A4 paper, and all I do is slide it into that fold and line it up. Just make sure your edges are straight. Grab a glue stick, just any old glue stick, and run a line of glue along the top where that flap is. Then make sure your paper's right in the fold, then just simply fold it down. Now just make sure you haven't got any glue on the outside of that flap. If you have, either let it dry and try and make sure you remove it, because if you put that through your printer's not going to like it. Now the next stage depends on your printer as to how you're going to print this. I just got this very heavy printer here. Put it this way so you can see everything. You want to make sure that your paper goes through the printer with the least amount of movement through rollers that's possible. So with this printer we've got 2 paper trays, one in here and one up here. So if I put my tissue in here to print it, it has to go through the printer, roll around the rollers and come back out the other side. That's a lot of moving around rollers for a piece of tissue. So with my printer I would put it in this back feeder, because that's simply going to come in there and straight through and out. So grab your piece of paper that's got your folded edge along one end, put that folded edge into the printer first. That's very important, it's got to be the folded edge, and work out, you should know with your printer which side up it's going to print on. With my printer it prints on the tissue side up, so I'm simply going to put it in the paper feeder at the back, go to my computer and press print. Okay, so I've printed my image on my piece of tissue, and then you simply just take it off and just cut it off along there. I just tear it, it's quicker and easier, but just be careful. And there you go, there's your printed image on tissue. Very easy, very straightforward. Now, every printer and every person is different, and this method won't work for everybody. So other things you can try depending on what the problem is. First of all, make sure that you glued that strip down properly and that you put it into your printer with a folded edge first. If you have put your piece of paper into the printer, this is a plain tissue on the background backing paper, and sometimes the printer will try and do this. It'll start gathering up the tissue and not grabbing the paper as well. In that case, there's another way to deal with it. First of all, let's get that one out of the way. First of all, print your image on plain paper. Then we're going to add another sheet of tissue to it. So same as before, put your printed image down in the way it's going to go into the printer. Printed image down there. Make sure it's straight. Grab your glue stick. Run your line of glue along. And fold it down. Now what you want to do is turn it over, and you want to try and attach a bit more of the tissue to your backing paper. What's happening is your printer is picking up the tissue but not pulling the backing paper through as well. So grab your glue stick again and just put a few spots around the page between your images. So here, 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 along the edges is fine, maybe one there, bit here, bit here. That's all you need. Now fold it down and make sure it all adheres to those glue bits, and then print again. Okay, I've put it through my printer again. Now all I do because it's just lightly glued, you can just peel it off. And simply tear it off again, or cut it, and there's your image. Now, this is also the method to use if you're getting any ink lines or smudges through your printing. It's all to do with your printer not being happy about this tissue and the paper being separate. So what you need to do is adhere the tissue more to the background paper. If you try this method and it's still leaving a few marks, next time put some more glue on the back. If that still doesn't work, head to our next video and you'll see there are other alternative ways of adhering the tissue paper to your backing paper that will give you a more reliable print if this isn't working for you. It's not as simple as this method, but it's still perfectly doable. So it's time to use the tissue, and there's a couple of things to remember. First of all, if you'd like your tissue to disappear in the background, you want to remove it from the background with something wet, because it tears the fibres and makes them blend in better. So I might do something like, I might want this group of butterflies here. Just make sure you keep your brush wet, and then simply tear along that wet line, and that separates the fibres and makes the edges easier to blend in. Now I'm not going to bother with this on the edges here because I'm going to put this in a corner. So simply grab a brush, a soft brush, and some clear gel medium. Now I happen to like the Dina Wackley one. I have no affiliation with Dina. This is the soft gel medium. This works for me, but people love Mod Podge, or any sort of clear medium is fine. So what you want to do is put a layer of the gel medium down, of any clear medium down first, where you're going to put your tissue, and go beyond where it's going to go. It's important that the edges are well glued down. Put this down here, and then simply put another layer over the top. It doesn't matter if you can see your brush strokes when it's wet, you won't see them when it's dry, or they'll be minimal. And there you go, the tissue has disappeared into the background and you're left with these beautiful butterflies making a statement on your page. Now that's very simple to do with a black and white image like this. Now, one thing to be aware of is if your printer is an inkjet printer, you might find that you go to put the gel medium over the top and it smudges the ink. You need to know before you start if your ink is waterproof or not, and it's easy. Just grab some gel medium or even just some water and just test it out. Okay, that doesn't smudge, so it's fine. A laser printer won't smudge. That you can be sure that that's going to be fine. So if you do have an inkjet printer, still put your layer of gel medium underneath. Put your tissue on, but don't put the gel medium all over the top. Just put it around the edges away from the images, and that will be fine. Now, say you want to do some more on this with a different type of image. So say we want to put on something that we want to add colour to, so maybe this big image here. Grab my little brush again and just go roughly around the shape of the image, making sure you keep your brush fairly wet. And you can just tear it out. Made it a bit too wet there. And it'll tear along the wet line you've made. Sometimes you might need to do just a bit at a time because it's drying out as I go. So you have your image. I'm going to do the same as before. It's a bit hard to guess sometimes where the image is exactly going to go, but I'll just do a big area just to be sure. Put that on. It's going to go beyond there. Now I'm just going to cover half of it on the top to show you, and I'm just going to do around the edges of the rest. So if you've got an inkjet printer, You're just going to do around the edges. If you've got a laser printer, you can do the lot. But it now depends on what sort of colour you want to colour this with. Most things will go over the top of your gel medium, but if you're not sure, you don't have to do that. You can just put it, the gel medium on the bottom and not on the top. It will show the tissue a little bit more, but if you want the better colour on your wings or stars or whatever you're going to colour here, so we can just colour away. This is a watercolour pencil, and that works fine. I can't go over the top of this now to show you because that's wet, but once that's dry you'll be able to go over the top of that too. But you will get slightly different results, so it's just a bit of experimenting with what mediums you want to use and what works for you. I hope that's clarified for you how to print and use our ArtStacks tissue at home. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop us a line on social media, and be aware that sometimes it takes a few times to get it right, but once you've got it right, you will be able to print as many images as you like, as often as you like. Most importantly, have fun. Bye.